Hi everyone. Hi Mom. Okay, this is episode 9, the final episode. This is where I'm going to show you how I sew my signatures in. Now, everybody does it, slightly different. This is what works for me. This is how I do it. There was a really great suggestion left on another video for me using an old phone book as what you set your cover and pages into so that you can line up your holes, which is a great thing. I don't own one. Digital world, right? So I don't have a phone book. So this is what I use. I have a self-healing mat so that I don't pierce my craft sheet. And then I have a piece of foam. This came with one of my tools from We Are Memory Keepers. But, if you have an old piece of foam, that works. You need a piercing tool of some kind. I do have this one, and it's also We Are Memory Keepers. And I use graph paper so that I can figure out where I want my holes, and that way they're exactly where I need them every time. You need a large head needle so that you can thread. I'm using the wax twine that I've been using through the book. It's nice and thin, it's very strong, and it has a little bit of a wax, not super waxy, but and so then what you're going to do is you're going to go along your book and you're going to cut three times the length of your book. I've done a little bit more, but you're not going to waste too much thread that way. We're doing a simple pamphlet stitch. That's what I suggest you start with, and then as you get better you can be creative and start doing different stitches like the daisy chain and things like that. Okay, I told you the graph paper. I use my flathead pliers to squish the twine so that I can get it onto the needle easier. And that's it. So the first thing you're going to do is determine where you want your holes. So we'll go to the center, and depending on the kind of journal you're doing, now you know that this one is pretty straightforward. All the pages are the same. The only shorter one is going to be the envelope. It's a little bit shorter. But if you've got all different kinds of lengths and stuff, then that's how you're going to determine where you want to put your holes. I suggest the more different widths of paper that you have, the more holes you should put in, just to make sure that you're going to catch all of those at least twice so that they don't shift in your book. I hope that makes sense to you all. The other thing you want to determine is how much is different between your pages and your covers. Sometimes I've got 1/4 of an inch on either side. So you want to center your pages, put your short pages where you want. Sometimes I'll clip them together with a bullnose clip or an alligator clip, whichever you have. And just so that your pages aren't going to shift around. This one's really straightforward, so I don't need to do that. But what I am going to do is all of these pages are going to get pierced at the same time. Along with, no, not along with my cover, sorry. I'm going to take my graph paper. Now this is a little bit longer, so I'm going to cut some of it off. And it's going to be cut there. I just find graph paper so much easier to use than trying to measure and put your holes. It's just, you go by boxes, right? Okay, so this one isn't quite, I'm going to take the box right off it just for eyeball sake. I think it is easier. So it's going to be slightly shorter. It's going to be right on the inside of my book. It's not right to the very edge, which is fine. And then to find your center, you simply fold your graph paper in half. Mark your center right there. So that's the center of my book. And I want 5 holes. So now this is where I'm not doing math, which is why I like using the graph paper. You just count your boxes. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. I have 27. So if I go 13 boxes down, that should be right. It might not be, but let's go for it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So this would be my 13th box right here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yep, it's right. Look at that. Sometimes I'm smart. Okay. So that's exactly where I wanted it. I want a little bit of a space from the end of my book. I don't want it right to the very end. And like I said before, depending on the lengths that you're putting in your book, that's going to determine, if I had shorter ones, I might want to move that box up one, and therefore I would move that box up one. Do you see what I'm saying? Just so that you're not so close to the edge of something that you're tearing the paper, you want to make sure that it's going right into the paper. Okay? So if I do that again here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. This is my 13th right here. And then the last box, right? Yeah, the last box. So that'll give me 5 holes. That works for me. And I think I am going to move it up 1 box each, because my pages are a little bit shorter than my book. Not much, but a little bit. So I'm going to move it up 1 box here and 1 box here. Leave the center. That's going to come up 1 box here. Nope, did I mess that up? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes, I did. It's going to go here. And then that's just going to come up 1 there. Okay, once I've done that with my pencil, then I like to do it with a Sharpie so I can see it easier. There's my center. Okay, now if you're doing multiple signatures, all you do is move it down 1 box and mark again. So this will be your center, that'll run your second, and that'll run your third. If you're only doing 2, then obviously you would make your, your graph paper narrower so that you can, find the center but move off of the center either side evenly, and that'll get your 2 signatures. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to give this a really good crease with my thumbnails so that it stays nice and bent when I'm folding it into my cover. I'm going to line it up, and again, this is, not a perfect science here, but I find if I hold my cover up almost straight, then the needle part, my pokey tool, goes right in. Now I'm going to slide it towards me so I can actually see what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to pierce, and try and keep your tool straight up and down. I keep my finger on one end of the graph paper so it doesn't shift. And if it does happen to shift, just put your tool back into the paper hole, then find the hole that you just pierced and line it back up that way. Hopefully I can get this all done in one go and don't have to do a part 2. I'm going to go pretty fast. Okay, so that's my cover. Then I want to do the same thing to my pages. I'm not going to add my envelope right at the moment. I'm going to do that one separate. I want to make sure I'm in the middle. I am. I'm going to line my graph paper up. So it is going to overhang slightly because the pages are just a little bit shorter. And again, I'm going to just hold it down with my finger, stand it up, find my hole, And the last one, there, okay. So that's those, and then you determine which way you want to see your envelope in your book. So I want my flap to be on the left-hand side of my book. So this is where I want to put my holes. So again, I'm going to eyeball this and line it up. And you can do that, you know, pretty simply. You just count the boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I want to move it a little that way. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Now this one I don't really need to fold up, as long as it goes, yeah, into the hole there. So you see what I mean? There's no hole down here, but there's going to be 3 holes in the envelope, and that's plenty to hold your envelope in place. Okay? So there are my holes there. All right. Now, the other important thing is make sure all your pages are facing the right way. I have so done that where I put them in upside down. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Okay, so this is all right side. This is right side. It's going to go there. Now, this is the fun part, or the more frustrating part. So what I always start in the center, because that's where I end up. I tie mine on the inside so that my envelope flips up and covers my stitching. Some people like to start at the top on the outside because they like to tie theirs on the outside and then put some beads on it. It's really up to you how you want to do it. I prefer it this way. Not a big dangle person. They're really, really pretty. I love them, but yeah, I find them annoying when I'm trying to journal. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm flipping up the pages to make sure that it's finding its hole properly. It is a little time consuming, but it's worth the time to do it this way rather than create a secondary hole that you didn't want, and then it doesn't look as nice, right? Okay, there's my cover. And then when I pull it out, it's another reason to have your pliers. I use those sometimes when my pages are really thick and I have trouble getting the needle through. I'll pull it with the plier. So then I leave about, not much is good. And then it doesn't matter whether you go up or down, it's up to you. I always go up, I don't know why. So I start with the cover hole, and then I open it back up. Now this coming up to the top here, because you don't have anything yet keeping your pages stable. So again, I just flip them onto the needle so that I'm not creating another hole. Once you get your pages more stable with a few stitches in it, the holes should all line up and you shouldn't have too much difficulty getting the needle into the holes. Just a word of caution, if you're trying to, thread it through and it's really resisting you, don't push anymore. Pull it back out, because likely what you're doing is creating a new hole. And then just into my envelope. And then I just push the needle through. And sometimes, like I said, my hand doesn't work, so I will use my pliers. And then hold that one, turn it over, and see what you've got. It's nice and flat. And then I'm going to go down the top hole. And if you bend your book, you should, in theory, find the holes easily. Some people can do this in their sleep. Okay, there you go. You want to make sure that it's nice and tight, but you want to hang on to that as well because it will still pull through. Okay, and then you're going to go back down into the hole you've created, and hopefully it lines up. Whoop, mine didn't. I could feel that slip. I'm just going to flip them on there. Okay, that should, there it is. This one's usually tougher because there are now two pieces of the thread. Oh, that's why I had difficulty, because I actually went right through the twine, which is fine. That's fine. No big deal. It'll all get tightened. Okay, now I'm going to go down this hole, and I'm going to go on the opposite side. So if you pull your twine towards you and then go on the back side of the twine, you shouldn't have that problem again. There we go. Okay. Give it a nice tug. Now if you get this looping, you pull one of these, the inside I think it is. Yeah. Pull the inside. The reason it's looping is because I did go through the twine. Pull that side, pull the top, and then pull the middle again. And then you can tighten that up. There you go. Okay, so now we need to go down through the hole, which I can't see at the moment. Okay, I'm going to open my book so I can see it. Just want to make sure I do have it in the right spot. And I'm really hoping that this is all on camera because I'm not looking. There it is, yep. Okay. Now that should... I just lost it again. Okay, why aren't you going through? I'm just nervous. There we go. Okay. Out you come. What's my time at? I gotta move it. Okay, did that. Now we go back up into this one, the top hole, which should line right up. But then again, maybe not. Okay, that's there. Got the needle through the pages. And there we go. Now, if you had some nice twine that you liked and you didn't like the color, once you get it all in there, you can just rub it with some ink. Change the color. I've done that many times. Alright. Make sure that's nice and tight on the other side. See, now this one is not tight enough for my taste. Let's see. Oh, it is that one. Okay, no problem then. Okay, now you want to take this and go under your thread here. You can take it off the needle now. And then you're going to tie a knot. This is the bonus of using the wax because it doesn't slip. Okay, just like that. And then I simply snip off the ends like so. And then this is going to get glued. Now when you glue that, you want to make sure you folded it up and you're gluing it standing. Otherwise you're going to get warping. So I'm going to run my glue along the edge here lightly and along the edge here. If you choose, you can use double-sided tape. And then hold it upright, push the glue down. And then this little guy gets tucked in there, and there's my center. Okay, so you go back, and then I give it a nice crease all the way through the book, and I'll probably tie it closed overnight, you know, to make sure that it's going to stay nice. And that's how you sew in your signature. So I hope that was easy to follow. If you have any questions, as per usual, just leave me a comment in the box below. And I hope that everybody that's been following along has noticed that in the description box, I've linked a ton of things for you guys to make life easier. I will do the same in this one, and all the information will be at your fingertips. I've also created a playlist. So if you go to my channel, you'll see all 9 videos in the one playlist. So it's easy to watch. Okay? Thanks for joining in, and I really enjoyed this. You know, it was fun. I hope you found it that way too. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.